Petrovic, what can you say about him? This is a guy who's been in the minors grinding.
Yeah.
He's played more games for you in the playoffs than the regular season. Just what can you say about him getting more?
Yeah, great. You know, a lot of, I think any playoff journey you go on, a lot of unsung heroes came up last year and did the exact same thing for us in the playoffs. You know, I think I got a lot of time for him. You know, I always liked him. He's not a career minor leaguer. This guy's got a lot of NHL games under his belt, and you know, he kind of got to a point in his career where he's an American League captain and leadership and things like that. But you know, I've always liked his makeup and his game, and you know, he made a believer out of me last year in the playoffs. So you know, when we got to that point of the year this year where we were talking about depth up here, you know, we brought him in, and you know, he's an easy guy for a coach to play.
Yesterday you said if your defensive defensemen have to start scoring, you're in trouble.
Good point.
So what is
No,
it?
I said if we have to count on our defensive defensemen to score.
You did it right.
Yeah.
But what does it mean when your team does get contributions from
Yeah.
Petrovic, and then Cody Ceci had a few good
Yeah.
looks as well?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Good point by you, and you're right. I did say that, and it's true. At the same time, I thought we had a lot more guys look a lot more dangerous tonight, up and down the lineup, than we did the other night, and you know, that's a credit to our group. We looked at last game, we made some adjustments, and you know, our whole group was more dangerous, and you know, we got some great contributions though from some unsung heroes. Our penalty kill, I thought Sam Steele was outstanding tonight. Blackwell, a couple block shots. You know, a lot of work by guys that don't get noticed a lot.
Pete, on the video review, your counterpart Scott Arneal believes that if they ruled it a kick, and it appears they did, that the fact that it went off of Hellebuck's stick and in means it shouldn't have counted. That's how
Right.
the rule reads. What was your read on that?
Well, I'm not sure that's how the rule reads. I think the rule reads that if I believe if the goalie's making a play on the puck, that it's a goal. So that's the difference. Is it just deflected off him, or is he trying to make a play with the puck? And I think they got it right.
And is that how they explained it to you? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coach, you just mentioned the penalty kill. In the
Yeah.
postseason so far, you're 31 out of 35 on successes on the PK, 89%. What makes the Stars penalty kill so successful?
Yeah. You know what? Great attention to detail by Elaine Nazardine, and he runs that group. Great buy-in from the guys that are on that group. Great goaltending is always a key to penalty killing. You know, I think as a team, though, I mean, we're still taking too many. We're putting too much pressure on our penalty kill, but they've been absolutely outstanding so far.
Yeah, you talked about how hard it is for any team to win 2 in a row, and you're on the right side of that right now, having won the first game. So how big was this coming off a shutout?
Yeah.
To have this kind of game?
Oh, it was big. It was a response. You know, and I talked to our group today. It's the best response team that I've coached, you know, in my time here, coming off either, not necessarily a poor effort, but, you know, a loss, or, you know, maybe we're not as good as we could be, you know, rectifying that quickly. And, you know, other than that blip at the end of the season where, you know, we sat a bunch of guys and had key guys out, you know, it's one of the reasons we haven't had extended losing streaks around here.
Pete, from the moment of Petro's goal until the end of the review, I think it was like 6 to 7 minutes. I mean, they played almost the entirety of Freebird during. But I'm curious from your point of view, I mean, what's that like, A, on the bench during the review, and then B, what did you make of the effort coming out of that review and Mikko's goal there to give you some turns?
I mean, you know what? It's a long review, but I think you want them. At that point you want them to take as much time as they need to get it right. You know, I don't want them to rush and not get it right. So, you know, I think you have to have some patience in that. you know, I think depending on this, I felt fairly confident it was a goal. So did our group, so did our video guys that were watching it. So, you know, it maybe it didn't feel as long as Freebird, but, you know, listen, you know, we were on the right side of the momentum at that point, so I'm not surprised how we played coming out of that. We got right back at it, and I really liked our last 5-6 minutes.
Can you put your finger on what makes this the best response team that you've ever coached?
You know, there's an honesty to the group and the leadership in the group. They're willing to accept hard coaching. You know, you don't have to sugarcoat it with them, which is nice. You know, some teams, some coaches, sometimes you gotta, you know, be careful not to hurt feelings and things like that. I don't have to worry about that with our group, and it starts with our leadership guys. If Jamie Benn is the first guy in line to accept criticism, then, you know, everyone else kind of falls in line, and it's not like we, you know, it's constructive criticism, but they're willing to go there without pushback, and I think that's always a part of fixing what's wrong.
I'm not sure what else you can say about Mikko at this point.
Yeah.
Comes out and does it again tonight. What do you make of the run that he's on, and in your estimation, and as far as you can remember maybe even, where does this rank in terms of playoff runs?
Well, it's the best performance, you know, I've got to witness standing where I'm standing with a guy on my team for this extended period. But, you know, for me, he's just getting started. He's just warming up here. I think he's on a mission.
We'll do 2 more questions, Robert.
Mason Marchment looked pretty frustrated at the end of the second period. He had a little bit of an interaction with one of the officials. Did you see that interaction, and do you have a comment on it at all?
I saw the interaction. I saw him give him a tap on the shin pads. I didn't understand. I don't know the context of what happened, you know. So, you know, is it a friendly tap, you know, or was he just acknowledging that he was there? I don't know.
Our last question, we'll go to Mike.
Yeah.
You talk about the response. A 2-2 game in the third period. You've done this a couple of times in the playoffs. What is that? I mean, it just seems like that's grabbing a game that could go either way and saying, we're going to make it go our way.
Yeah. Well, you have to. I mean, it's that time of year. And listen, Winnipeg's a great team, you know, and they don't give you much, and they defend well, and, you know, so there's not going to be blowouts, you know, or games that are runaways in this game. I know we lost 4-0 the other night. I didn't believe that was a 4-0 game. I thought that was a closer game, and I think tonight's a closer game than the score indicates. But you have to settle in and be comfortable in those type of games.
Great, thanks, Pete.
Okay.